What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's doing well, and before we get into today's video, I just wanted to thank everybody so far on supporting me for the first two videos. It really means a lot. Thank you for spreading the word, reaching new followings. Because of you guys, I'm allowed to create new content and continue to grow my channel, and I have so many great ideas for this channel, and it's just crazy to me. So firstly, I'd like to thank everybody that subscribed and watched my videos, and moving forward, for the new viewers, if you can like, comment, and subscribe, that would be awesome. And I'm probably gonna say this at the end of the video too, but just wanted to reach out to my loyal people. But anyways, on today's video, I'm going to be discussing what not to do on vacation, because for those who know me, I don't necessarily have the best luck when it comes to vacations. So with that being said, let's start with story number 1. So this trip I went with my mom, my brother, my aunt, and my cousins. So we went to Jamaica and we stayed in a part of the island called Negril. So we stayed at a resort, we were having a good time, and it hit, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th day, I think. And we went to a place called Rick's Cafe. So the whole big thing about Rick's Cafe are two things. Number one, because Negril is on the west side of the island, they're known to have beautiful sunsets. And because Rick's Cafe is set up to, it's kind of like a cliff where you overlook the ocean, at nighttime you get to see the sun setting. So my family and I, we wanted to go see that. Secondly, they have cliff jumpers, professional cliff jumpers that they jumped from, I think it was 85 feet or so. So my family and I, we wanted to go see that. Now, for the tourists, they have the cliff jumping, but they have them at lower levels. So they have them at 15, 25, and 35 feet. So me being the reckless 14-year-old, not having any care in the world, not having any fear in the world, I wanted to go straight shooter up to the 35-foot jump. So my one cousin and I, we had decided to go up there, and he had gone before me. Now, remind you, one of the things that they had said was when you jump in, you have to jump straight in like a pencil. No belly flops, no, out of the ordinary jumps, because the reality of it all is if you land in the water the wrong way, you could be seriously hurt, or there have been people that dislocated their shoulders, there have been people that had fractures, and the list goes on and on. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, straight in as a pencil. My cousin goes in before me, perfectly fine. He went in perfectly okay. I'm like, okay. So he went in unscathed, unharmed. I'm like, I got this. So here I am. I go over the edge and I jump in, and all I remember is my chest hitting first into the cove. So when I went in, I remember like blacking out a little bit for like 10 to 20 seconds until I felt arms pull me up from underwater. So it turns out that a lot of the people who were there, a lot of the tourists, they had been doctors, and they picked me back up. So they were all checking my vitals, my breathing, this and that. And I remember I'm just being so out of breath, had the wind knocked out of me, and I remember my chest hurting. I didn't think of anywhere else hurting. So anyways, after a few minutes of them consulting me, making sure I was okay, I was okay for the most part. I got up and I was able to walk. Like I said, I was a little sore at this point and out of breath. So, my mom and I, we decided to go back to the hotel. So we went back to the hotel. We were up on the 3rd floor, and what had happened next is that we decided to go to the resort medical station. So they had a nurse who had taken care of me, checked me out. They said it's advised that I get an x-ray just to make sure that everything's okay. But in the meantime, they gave me like a numbing shot. So we then take a taxi down the road to an x-ray place. So I got my x-ray done, and it turns out that I had compacted one of my discs in my back. The ironic thing about this all is that I really didn't feel anything in my back. I thought I broke my sternum in the front. So we get the x-rays. Little did I know, and I find this out later on, they write on my x-ray, obese. Now, at 14, I wasn't the skinniest kid, right? And, you know, I was a bigger kid. I liked to eat and this and that, but I didn't consider myself like obese. But hey, to each their own, right? So I have the x-ray here, and I'll show you, it literally says obese in parentheses. See guys, I kid you not, it says obese. So I ain't lying. So yeah, the x-ray said obese. So anyways, the hotel got word of my diagnosis with the fracture in one of my discs. And you know, I get it, for liability reasons, they were like, you need to go see a doctor. You need to go to the hospital. So anyways, we go back to the hotel, and they call people to come and take us to the hospital. Now the thing is that where we were on the west side of the island. The closest hospital is Montego Bay, which is about just a little over 2 hours of a distance. So, you know, we had to drive over there. So they come in with these stretchers, right? And I'm like, no, knowing my luck, I'll be on the stretcher. They're gonna take me down 3 flights of stairs. The seatbelts are gonna unlatch, and I'm gonna go flying down the stairs, and not doing that. So I decided to walk because I was fine to walk, even though probably medically I shouldn't be, but we get to the front of the resort. So I then get on the stretcher, load me on, and I'm laying down on this hard board for about a little over 2 hours. So anyways, we finally get to the hospital, and thank God we had travel insurance, because if that were the case and we didn't have it, then I would have to be airlifted to Miami. So that way my insurance had covered it. So anyways, I was admitted to a private hospital. I stayed there probably about 3-4 days. So the resort was very accommodating to my mom. They were able to get her to a sister resort closer to the hospital. That way she was able to, you know, check in on me, bring the food from the resort, and that way I didn't have to eat the hospital food. And so overall, you know, we did our course, we stayed there. And part of the travel insurance was on our way back that we were upgraded to first class, because at the end, when I was being discharged, they put a torso cast around me. So with that, and they sawed down the middle, so I was wider, so it would be very uncomfortable if I were to do economy class. So they upgraded us to a first class ticket, so there was more room for me to sit. So anyways, we were discharged from the hospital. We get back to the airport, and I'm sure those are like, the story's finally over. No. So I had the cast, and we get through TSA, and TSA's like, you need to come in the back. I'm like, I just want to get on the plane. I just want to go home. So they took me in the back, and they searched my cast, my torso cast, for anything that was in there. So obviously there wasn't, but it was just like an extra step that I was like, oh, like, just want to sit on the plane, not think about this. And anyways, we get through TSA, and we get on the plane, we fly home, and we get to my my orthopedic back here. And when he saw me for the first time with that torso cast, he's like, get that thing off, it's not gonna do you any good. And he prescribed me a back brace, which till this day, I still have the back brace, so I'll try it on in a second. So guys, I come to realize that they thought I was obese then. I can't even fit in this damn thing anymore. It's like literally about to come off, but I'm definitely putting it on the wrong way, but this is the only way it was gonna be able to fit. So here I am, the back brace. So I had to wear that for 6 to 8 weeks, and pretty much long story short, my doctor up here said that, you know, this fracture in my disc, they said that it's not life-threatening or anything like that, but, you know, in the future that it may lead to arthritis when I'm older. But here I am, how many years? 13 years later, and I am still here and I'm not hurting, so yeah. So guys, that ends story number 1. So story number 2. So in 2019, a couple of friends and I, we went to Sedona, Arizona. So, you know, I was joking around with my friends and I was telling them that, hey, I was recalling to the prior incident in Jamaica. So I was like, you know, I don't necessarily have the best vacation luck, but, you know, if I can make it through this trip, we will be golden and this and that. So anyways, we get to the trip, everything is great. We're there for 4 or 5 days and I'm okay, I'm still intact. I didn't have any incidents, didn't have any bad luck moments. And here we are the last day. So one of my really good friends and I, we wanted a coffee, so we wanted to go down to the local Starbucks down the road. So her and I, we get up, we go out, and let me set the scenario for you guys a little bit. So Sedona is generally a dry place. They barely gets rain. It's in the middle of the desert, and you know, here and there they'll get little sporadic rains, this and that. So the night before we leave, it was their first rainfall in a little over 3 months. So anyways, our stairs were wood and painted over with something. It was just painted over. Therefore, made the stairs a lot of it slippery. So, you know, my friend and I, she goes down first, I go down behind her, and I slip on the flight of stairs. And all I remember is that my phone at the time flew up, hit down, slam right on the step. So that phone is demolished, that's done. And then I remember as I'm going down the stairs, my right leg goes under my left leg and I just feel it rolling my leg, and it was like, ah, like I was just like, it was not a good time. So anyways, so my leg was hurting and that idea was completely smashed. She ended up going, so I ended up laying down on the couch, icing my foot, elevating it, and just, it was the day we were leaving and I didn't want to go to an urgent care down there. I didn't want to be admitted to a hospital because, you know, we had a flight. So I was okay. I was not okay, like the pain was real, but it wasn't bad enough to where I needed to go to the hospital immediately. Like I'll just brace it with the flight, go back, and then go to the urgent care or the hospital the next day. So I get back on the flight, and at this point I'm limping. So when we land back home, I get off the plane, and you know those people that, you know, for like the people that can't really walk, or like the senior citizens, they have the wheelchairs and they wheel them through the airport all the way to baggage. Yeah, one of the people, they saw me limping and they went up to me and they were like, hey, do you need a ride? So I'm like, okay. So I get in the wheelchair, they wheel me through, and my friends are just sitting there laughing at me because they're like, poor Mike, like, because this just always happens to me. So they wheel me to baggage claim, get our bags, we go back. Next day, we go to the urgent care. So it ends up that, thank God, nothing broke. I didn't have any broken bones. I did have a sprain, however, in my right leg, and my right ankle, I mean, and fast forward 3-4 days, the pain was minimal at this point. Till this day, I'll get little flare-ups where it'll hurt a little bit, but I do have video evidence and I do have video proof, so I'm gonna attach the video here.
When you had too much fun on vacation?
Yeah, a little too much. Story number 3. I'm telling you guys, the list just goes on and on. So this past Memorial Day in 2022, friends and I, we were supposed to go to Puerto Rico. And this was around the time with, I call it the flight Armageddon, where a bunch of different airlines were just spontaneously canceling planes without having to accommodate to the passengers. And they're like, well, you're out of luck there, bud. So they cancel it, and then they won't have a flight for like a week and a half. So we're all like a little bit nervous because we're like, what if we're that flight? Well, I guess me being there was the bad luck. And so the story behind that is that my friend and I, he had dropped his car off at my house. We were on our way to our next friend's house to pick her up, and we get to her house, and I just check to make sure I'm like on top of it. I check the airline app, and I check my emails as well. And it turns out that I see on the app that they're like, they have no information on our flight. I'm like, well, what do you mean there's no information on our flight? So I check my email, and I see that the flight was canceled. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Thank God that our friend just was taking forever to get out of her house, because if we were on our way and we were getting pretty close to the airport, that would have been pretty messy, and I would have been more angry. So I ended up calling customer service, and they were like, yeah, it's canceled. I'm like, okay, are you gonna do a later flight? Are you gonna arrange it or something? They're like, we don't have any flights for the next 7 to 10 days. I'm like, okay, so what are you gonna do for me? They're like, well, I can refund you. I mean, we all got our money back, but it's just the point. It's like, you canceled all these flights, and we had a pretty lucky situation because all we really paid for were the airline fees, as well as the excursions, which we all ended up getting our money back for that, with explaining to the places. However, I feel for the families that have been planning this for months and months in advance, that had put down on a hotel or whatever additional expenses that they had, and probably the great lengths of trouble that they had to do to either transfer flights. They had, like, some hotels may not be able to refund that. So, I can only imagine, and my heart goes to those people. But we were lucky in that situation, so we ended up getting our money back, and I ended up using it towards another flight. Okay, finally, so this is the last story. I saved this one for last because it was one of those stories that completely snowballed, one thing after the other. So in 2019, a couple friends of mine and I were planning to go down to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and we decided to do an earlier flight because we wanted to make the most of each and every day that we had at the resort. And we projected to get there probably about 1 o'clock, get to the resort by 1:32, and then, spend the rest of the day to just settle down, unpack, go to the beach, drink, do whatever, friends do. So everything's fine. We get through security. We board our plane, okay? So we take off, this and that, and probably about 50 minutes into the flight, I swear to you, the pilot goes over the intercom. He goes, ladies and gents, I have an announcement to make. Our plane currently is having an engine malfunction, and this is the first, if not second time in my 22 years of being a pilot where I've seen an instance like this. And I was like, someone's coming after me. My luck is just down the toilet at this point. And they go over they just say, we're gonna have to turn back around the plane, and everybody's gonna have to get off the plane and wait for further instructions. So anyways, they turn around the plane, everybody departs the plane, and we go back to our first gate. Next thing that we know is that they were like, okay, we're changing the gate to X. So my friends and I, we walked down to the new gate, and we're like, okay, maybe they got us a new plane. So it turns out that they had told us that the pilots, so the ones that I guess were flying our plane, and the staff, ended their shift and they are going home. So now they are looking for replacements. So here we are at the airport waiting and waiting and waiting, and you know, the airline is giving us snacks and boxes and stuff, but everybody's getting irritable. Everybody was looking forward to their first day, and you know, we were all calling customer service. We were like, well, what are you gonna do for us? This is just completely crazy. And fast forward 6 to 8 hours later, we finally board a new plane with a new staff, and we finally arrived to Dominican Republic. So we arrived there around 10:30, mind you. So 10:30 p.m., it's nighttime, and our first day was completely wasted. So we ended up getting on the cab to transfer from the airport to our resort, which is probably about a 45-minute drive or so. So we get in the cab and we're like, oh, thank God this is all done. We are ready to just relax, take a shower, just get ready, turn down for bed, and then we'll make it up tomorrow. About 15 to 20 minutes into the car ride to the hotel, all we hear is boom, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. And we're like, you're kidding me. Well, it ends up that the driver told us that there's a flat tire. So we were in the middle of nowhere. There was no streetlights. There was nothing. We were in desolate area. So we're all like getting a little bit nervous here. We're like, okay, so is someone coming? And the driver's like, yeah, they ended up radioing the cab driver. So fast forward another 15, 20, 25 minutes, the replacement cab comes up and they take us finally to the hotel. So they end up, we end up checking in and winding down, and I mean, the rest of the vacation was really nice. We ended up meeting some pretty cool people. We all did different excursions. We swam, I went to a spa. We had a coconut party with coconuts and stuff. So all in all, I mean, other than that little mishap at the beginning, the rest of the trip was great, and you know, we enjoyed ourselves. So guys, based off of these stories that I have told you, here are my little key lessons here that I recommend to all when going on vacation. Number one, get travel insurance, because even if you don't want to spend that extra, I don't know, it's not even expensive. Even if you don't want to spend that extra $20, $30, that extra $20, $30 can save your life and a lot of money and expenses. Because if we didn't do that, who knows how much they would have charged us for it. So I totally recommend, if you're going somewhere international, I think travel insurance is definitely a must. Secondly, if you're running or you have sneakers that don't really have a grip, I recommend getting a sneaker that has a grip, or whatever shoe you're wearing, because I've learned that I'm just a very clumsy person and I end up slipping on anything and everything. And the last thing that I've learned is that life is too short. When I was younger, I was thinking to myself, why is this happening? I mean, I joke about it now, like, why does this happen to me? Like, why is this luck? Like, you know, but back then I really took it personal, and it's, at the end of the day, life is too short. You have to remember the good things about the trip. You have to remember, you can't let the negative things affect you. You can't let, you know, these little things get to you, because at the end of the day, you're there to, you know, have fun and enjoy yourself and live your life. And life is too short. You only have one life. I mean, you can turn the negative into a positive. That's just my MO. Like, that's what I do nowadays. Like, anything that happens to me, I essentially am like, well, you know, it happened, and you laugh about it. So I think everybody should have that approach in life, and there's that. So guys, that wraps up my stories. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I hope you had some laughs. I hope that some of this information was informative, and you know, take that advice next time you go on vacation. So with that being said, I am so excited for new content coming out. I have prior travel footage, I have new ideas, and we're gonna wrap up the end of this year with some little ideas, but I'm so excited for 2023 because I have so much in store for this channel, and I hope that you guys are here to ride the journey and continue to help my growth and see where we go from here. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.